this is so awesome. We're just here to paint, and I'd like to turn off that star thing. Nancy's here. Hello, Nancy. I hope you all have your paints all primed and ready. I've got some fun things in store for you today. Can you hear my water? I'm squirting on my paints. I haven't painted yet today. I do hope that you take a minute to paint a little something every day. Yeah, just a little something just to get your juices going. For our warm-up, I have a picture of a blue tit bird. They are so lovely. I love their colors, their coloring, and I'm just trying to see. Let's see, I see Facebook on Virginia, and I see Nancy here. You're on my phone, so you might be watching Art Yourself Studio. I'm not positive. If you could just put in the comments which place you see me, that would be wonderful. And I'm kind of putting a comment there. Okay, so I'm gonna, for my phone, I'm gonna move it up to my computer so you can see the, going to plan B. Why Facebook has changed or Zoom has changed, I don't know, but that tends to happen to me a lot. So I think we did this before during COVID. I believe I just took a picture of my screen. Do you guys, Facebook. Okay, so Facebook Art Yourself Studio or Facebook Virginia Lamont Naegeli. So that's kind of where I am right now. And now you need to get this camera out of the way of, isn't this fun? Like this is really fun. It's always exciting. I love technology. Not everything's perfect. That's what life is about. There's probably a little screen on the phone, but I'm also recording it on my computer, so it will be loaded later with better. All I need now are the headsets. I got the microphone. Like we're all set here. We got all sorts of good stuff going on. I have to say, no worries, no nudity. Don't worry, we're gonna be fine. Nobody's going to be showing anything crazy. Why is it asking me all these questions? I've never done this before. Okay. I don't know. I'm not sure why it's giving me the decisions about the sexuality. But anyway, get your pencils, get your books. I want to talk about one of our painters that paints with us on a regular basis. She does a little bit of journaling when she's painting. So today I want to show you how to draw this bird, and I want to make a little bit of a journal and just talk about how you can journal. I do want you to take a look at your book. We have been painting now for 15 days, and if you look back in your book, you'll see 15 different paintings that you have done. You might like some more than others. That's perfectly fine. You're supposed to just be creative and play. This is all about exploring and playing. We paint because it feels good. It fills our heart. It takes us out of our intellectual self and puts us down into our heart and be creative. So two things. I'm going to show you how to draw the bird. We're going to just draw lightly with your pencil, an oval for his head, and then for his body. And of course, in my painting lessons that I have a whole program, we go into more detail with drawing, but I'm just gonna draw a light circle here and a light circle here. So this is where our bird is. His beak is here. So he's got a little lean forward and he is on a branch. So he has his claw on this side of the tree. You don't see the backside. And then his other leg, it's like an elbow. It bends like our human elbows, not like a human knee, even though it is his feet. It bends like an elbow. Okay, so then just sketching in. Now that looks silly. It looks like two eggs. But what you can do now is you can just lightly connect the top circle with the bottom circle, and you look at the lines of the photo. You look at the lines of the bird in the photo, and you can see that it's just kind of connected here under the neck, and it's connected over the top. If you've had a chance to order your Moo Eraser, or this one is a Marie's eraser. Either one, they really erase nicely. They make a thicker erasing so you don't have a lot of erased lines or marks in your paper. And then I do recommend taking some sort of brush. I have a flat brush here, and just brushing it off instead of using your hand. Now he looks kind of funny because he doesn't have the back of his tail. When you look at this picture, you see where the tail is angling. This tail and this bottom portion of a bird is where he catches his balance. So it can raise up and down. If you think of like a tailwind or a tail on an airplane, they have those flaps that help with the balance. And then why I'm talking about journaling is because if you look back in the Facebook on Art Yourself Studio, the videos, one of the artists, she posts her pictures that she's done, and she does all sorts of journaling. And I just love that. And I want to talk about it with you all. Everybody can do this. Go outside, look at something you want to draw. I'm placing his eye in here. And as I'm drawing, I'm thinking about things. I might write a little note, like I might say down here, legs are like elbows. And it's just information for you for later. You can draw an arrow there. Or you might pick colors, like, and we'll type it up here, the blue, write it up here, the blue tit. And what we loved about him are the yellows and blues. And it's just like that. As you're developing, as you're painting, just write a few notes to yourself. And that's journaling. That's what it is about journaling. It's observing nature. I see there's a little line of this. Let's look at the picture. It looks black, but to be honest, I'm sure I've said it before, I don't really paint with black. I find black is very flat. But what is black? If we really talk about it, and I want to welcome Emily and Laura, they're here with me on Zoom. Tell me, what is black, and why don't I like to use it? Do you know, I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, it's two different things. If it's with light, it's the absence of light. But if it's with color, in my mind, it's all the colors mushed together, and you end up with black, which is not very appealing.
Yes, black can be really flat in your paintings. There you go, Nancy. Thank you. Nancy sees it on Art Yourself Studio. I appreciate that feedback. So here we go. So black is like Emily said, it can be the absence of light, or it can be all the colors mixed together. And I remember as a kid trying to understand that, and I just didn't get it. The teachers told me over and over, I just didn't get it. And as I began painting and doing more and more with watercolor, it's so different than with acrylics or oils, because watercolor, you really are mixing your colors. And so therefore, when you make a black, you're going to use, I'm going to write it down here on the bottom. So therefore I'm journaling again a little bit. So I'm going to write black, and you're welcome to do that. It's just our journal page. When you go back to paint this again, your sketchbook, your journal book will have so much information in it that you'll be able to repeat this painting. Black equals, let's just shout out some colors, ladies, and you can type it in the chat. I see you. There, Mary Lou, there you are. Mary Lou, you inspired us for this journaling portion. I just want you to know that. I hope you have a smile on your face. Okay, let's just yell some colors. Like for me, red,
Blue,
green, blue sepia, which is a real neutral color. So black equals all these colors. You might get, what I'd like you to try now is just go ahead and grab these colors and mix them on your palette. I'm going to turn this a little bit so you can see my palette. I've got red here, dirty water, clean water. I'm going to pick a new color. I'm going to pick a blue. And I'm tapping the blue there. This is how we mix. And if I'm too loud, just raise your hand, let me know. I think I get too excited and I start talking too fast. So I'll slow down, I'll take a deep breath. But any case, there's blue, and we talked about green. I'm gonna put some green here. So I made like a little triangle of these colors. And then dirty water, clean water. And here is a sepia color. So I'd like to just take my tip of my brush and just start stirring each of these little circles to make a color in the middle. And I want it to be dark. So if it needs more green, go ahead and mix more green, mix more blue. I'm just setting the stage so that when we start painting our bird, we have our black mixture and we have plenty of it. He doesn't need a lot. He needs just a very little bit. I see in the picture his collar, a little collar and little stripe around his eye. I did put a circle in his eye, and I'm looking, he seems to have a little tuft on top of his head. So I'm going to erase that, and I'm going to let that just be open so that I can paint it a little more poofy with the paintbrush. So there we go. I've got a little black mixture. You can see the bird too. There you go. You guys can see it too. I can see it in my phone. Perfect. Okay, so we'll do a wet on wet for the tummy. And we talked, it was yellows and blues. So I'm really just getting the base of his tummy wet with some water. I love the wet on wet because I love how it bleeds and how the water moves. I'm going to use a pad yellow, which to me is a little warmer yellow. You can change it up however you'd like. This is just how your vision. Look, I'm just tapping it in and watching it go. And I'm tapping it a little heavier down here so that it's richer in color down here, but it's dispersing out to the rest of his body. And there's a little blob that came out of the water that came out here. It's okay. Just wipe it up a little bit with your brush. Now it looks a little yellow. Mine's looking yellow. That's fine. I can always color that in, or who remembers what we learned last week? I'm going to take a paper towel and set it on the part that I don't want. That's one way you can remove it. And the other is when it's dry, you can use your magic eraser. Oh my gosh, look how cute he is. Now this little black mixture, just ever so little bit. It's almost like we call it dirty water. Just ever so little. I see a little shadow under his belly down here. So I'm just gonna tap a little bit of that dirty water color as a shadow. And see how it's just bleeding nicely into the yellow. If you have too much, just put your paper towel over the whole thing and lift it up again and start over. No worries, it's just paper. We're just having some fun. See our little elbows. Okay, I really want that yellow to stay strong. Let's see, what is his head? Oop, sorry for the camera. Okay, his head is white, but that little scruffly part on top is blue. And I would love it if you just used a couple different blues. There's going to be a dark and a medium and a light blue. And how fun to have 3 different blues showing. Very small picture, so it's going to be very hard to get that control. So I'm doing the wet brush on dry paper, and I'm just tapping in what I think is the little bit of the hair. I am using a number 5 brush. As you see, it's very thick. It's a heavier brush. This is the goat hair. So if I really want it to be a thin line, I can just lift my brush up and down. So can you. Just lift your brush up and down and do like a little mohawk kind of strokes. But we're going to let that dry. This is the lightest blue. And I see some of that lightest blue here on his back. I always start with the lighter color because we can always go darker over it. So I'm going with this light blue and just filling in the tail. And what I like to call this is the underpainting. And that makes me think in journaling. Let me think. Maybe I want to say underpainting. Underpainting. I see that there's like a yellow cast to his whole underbelly. So underpainting is going to be yellow, and then blue feathers. Now I call this journaling in nature, because what I want to encourage you to do is take this book and go outside. Since the weather's getting nicer, go outside and just sit and sketch birds that you see, and then make little notes what you notice. Do you notice, for example, how about this? For example, Laura and I went to Kensington last Friday, and we held our hand out. Oh, you have to go. And the birds ate off of our hands. And what I noticed was the red-winged blackbird. He was like, the chickadee would come and take a piece of seed and run away, or fly away, excuse me. But the red-winged blackbird was kind of pecking through my hand, through the seeds, and he was throwing pieces down on the ground that he didn't want. He was discarding seeds that he didn't want. And that would be something that I observed. And if I were writing in my sketchbook, that's something I would write, because 2 years from now, when I look at my sketchbook, I want to remember that detail. All right. So now I'm going in with the second blue color. Let's put that that's the second one there. It's a little darker than the first one that I used. So I've got the 3 layers. I always talk about 3 layers of a painting. And then you have the darkest blue that you have. If you don't have 3 dark blues, don't worry. You can use less water first and then add a little more paint and add a little more for the darkest, like make it a pasty layer. But now I'm going to go with a little darker blue and tap right back in. And so I would write in my book about how picky that red-winged blackbird was. Plus, it took me a while just to even say that red-winged blackbird. Red-winged blackbird. Say it 5 times or real fast. Who can do it? I dare you. I wonder if you can type it on Instagram. I mean, on the Facebook. Okay, so now let's get a little darker. And I'm going to tap in because I'd love to have the 3 varied colors in there. Anybody have anything they notice about the titmouse when he's out and about? Just tapping in. I know that when he's dry, I can draw really skinny lines to show the feather, the lines in his tail feather here. I'm going to go a little his shoulder. I'm going to give him a little more of a shoulder. And now we can get a skinny brush. Oh, I do see the color of his feet. Let's see, are there any observations we can make on the feet that we can write in our book? The claws, we know, have 4 little like fingers, finger-like, and 4 little fingers. So 2 usually in front and 2 are in back when they're wrapped around a tree for balance. And they have sharp little nails. They have little nails that come out. And Laura, didn't you share with us that it was like digits? The fingers look like they have digits.
Yeah, they have the same joints that we have in our fingers. I think they call them their toes on the birds, but they still have the knuckle and the part, and then there's 4 parts, I think.
Okay, good. Okay, so they've got 4 parts, joints and toes, and then toenail. They have a toenail.
They're little nails, yeah.
There we go, toenail. So those are little notes you can do with your journaling. And I would advise you to come back maybe next week and watch this, look at this video, because I'm pretty sure Mary Lou, who is the queen of her journaling, will add her picture to this and show us her beautiful journal ideas. Amazing. You can follow her on Facebook and see her beautiful paintings. So I took that black mixture that we made and I'm adding the water to it, making it light. And I'm just going to lightly, actually we could move to a smaller brush. I'm going to put that one aside and I'm going to grab this smaller one that has a little nicer point on it. Let's see, that's a 6. And here's a 3. So I'll grab this 3 I get it wet. Always get your paintbrushes wet first, and then roll it in the paper towel so you have a nice point. Grab this kind of gray down blue, and just draw a line on where the leg is and the toes and the joints. And if you can draw it with a joint, that's great. If you don't worry about it. It's okay. We're just having some fun here. And then this back leg, remember the elbow, it goes back. Now, sometimes you don't see all 4 legs, so you don't have to paint all 4 legs. But this one is going around the branch, and this one you don't really see. Okay, so now we're going to get to do the eye. And we're going to grab these dark color. I need to add some more reds and blues, make it really dark. If you want to use a dark brown, you can. And what I'd like to do is just put a drop, like tap the eye, and try to leave a little white space. It doesn't always happen, and that's okay. You can add something later. We don't really see this bird up close. I'm not zoomed in on it. I do love how this bird has something in his beak. So I may just put a line on the top of his beak and a line underneath. And then I see the black line goes to right to the middle in front, but I'm not going to touch the eyeball part because I don't want to lose that round circle that I have. And then I'll touch behind it, and then just tap a little collar. I also see some kind of cool navy blue in that collar. It's thicker in the back, and it's just coming around lightly to the front. And again, when you paint it again, you might use less pencil here, but I do see that I can use this opportunity to cover my pencil up with a little shadow here. So I'm just gonna draw on the pencil line and call it the bird's shadow. It's a little bit down here too, and let it just move out in. There we go. I might just take some water clean brush and push out a little so it's a smooth line and not rough. If I have to, I can grab some yellow again and meet the shadow and just push that down a little. Just a little. Have some fun with it. Play. See some details that you see and just play. Now we know this bird is not white. It's whenever you see white in a painting or in nature, it's generally not pure white. It's probably a little bit of gray in there. So whatever I had on my brush, this looks a little yellow to me. So I'm going to clean that brush out. Clean my brush, scoop up what I just painted, being very careful not to touch that black. But even just that, just scooping up what I had on there and spreading that around a little bit, just makes it not so stark white. So I know all the colors are in black. And Emily, she is our resident art teacher. I would love Emily to teach a lesson one of these Tuesdays. I'm talking her into it. But Emily, if we know that black is all the colors mixed together, what is white?
In light, it's the absence of, it's all the colors mixed together, really white light. But in painting, it's the absence of pigment, I suppose. That's the white paper for me.
Yeah, that would be the white paper. Perfect. Thank you. Excellent. There is a little stripe there. If we want to get technical, you could take your brush that's dry. My brush is dry, and I'm just scooping out a little bit there. Scooping. Okay, and drawing. Okay, any other notes or observations we need to put in here? We did really well. I'd like to put a little more yellow. Oh, I love this. When you get the blue is wet and I tapped some yellow into it, and the yellow just mixed my new wet yellow into the wet blue and just made little fingers. And to me, that looks like little feathers. I like that. That's okay. Had the blue dug this way, I might have lost my yellow belly and maybe not been too excited. What color berry do we want to put in his mouth? Wonder what they eat. If we were in nature, we would watch him eating. We could see which seed he was picking. put a berry that you think he would like. I'm going to put a red one, just a little red berry, because I know we'll be able to see it. And since I have red on my brush and I have the red berry here, what if I tapped my pencil and made some splatter marks with that red? Maybe there's a inspiration. Maybe there's a little berry tree here that he's taking off of. Just play. Write notes. Maybe he likes orange berries, or maybe I wonder, just be curious. Maybe this will inspire you to look it up. Like, what do they eat? What do they like? There's some science in here. Maybe you have kids or grandchildren that would be interested in. Now I'm just taking water and spreading it out a little, just playing, because I finished my painting. But I always like to play to see how far I can push what I like, what I want to see in my paintings. I would like to have his legs stand out a little bit. I'm going to grab some more paint and go ahead and draw that in, that elbow. Anything to add, ladies? Am I missing anything?
Would you want to put a little grounding underneath him just to swoosh the brush?
Sure, because he is sitting on something. What color?
Brownish, grayish, or something.
Okay, let's do.
I use purple because it's a complement to yellow. I don't care if it's realistic or not.
I love it. Purple, brown, gray. Add it all. I did have my notes down here, and I see where my hand went over my writing. So I used a very soft lead pencil to do my notes in writing here. I believe there are better pencils that you can write notes in. Maybe Mary Lou, if you could share in the chat when you post your picture, what pencils do you use when you are painting? Oh, I love the purple in there, and I love the brown. I love it. There we go. I feel like I want something over here, just because he's not real fat, and I know in my picture he looks little and fat. I think I made a big long one. Let me see. What would I do? What do I do if I want him to be little and fatter? Let's play. Curious. Maybe I bring his belly down a little bit. Oh, and look what's happening. It's just bleeding into the outline, into the background. How pretty. Love that. I love when the color bleeds a little bit. Let's see if we can make that blue. So I'm tapping water next to the blue that I put in for his head. Tapping blue there, just letting that kind of spread out, fun, into the background. And maybe I'll get this wet and tap some blue in. I don't know. If I don't like it, it's okay. This is my practice. And you can write notes. What did you like about it? What didn't you like? In your journaling, let's find out what they eat. What kind of behaviors do you notice when you're out there in nature watching them? Okay, I better stop because I am getting kind of, this is when you know you should stop. The colors are turning. Yeah, that's fine. You guys want to share yours? I think we can see you. I'm not positive. Okay, let's see if we can see you. Here we go. Zoom in. Oh, Emily, he's beautiful.
Thank you. I really enjoyed this very, very much.
Oh, good. Laura, what did you do?
Oh, I don't like his hairdo.
His mohawk?
Yeah, he's a little messy. So I was just playing and wet it to let it bleed and see if that.
Excellent. That's exactly what we want you to do. Perfect.
But like you said, it's the workbook. Time to try.
It's your workbook. Yes, time to play and just experiment. Ladies, thank you for joining me. Facebook, thank you for putting up with being on Virginia page and Art Yourself Studio page. I will have a better recording of this on YouTube and I will load it up on Art Yourself Studio page. If you would like to add your pictures to this recording so we all can see them, that would be great. Anybody at home painting, please send your pictures along with, and we'll see you all next week.